All right, well, accountability isn't coming. The Democrats have been proven wrong yet again, this time on border security, by simply enforcing already on the books immigration law. President Trump has achieved the lowest level of border crossings in years. See, could have been pretty easy for Joe, right?
Could have, just to change a president. Now the sanctuary cities are facing their reckoning for allowing migrant crime to illegal immigrant crime to explode. 4 mayors, Boston, New York, Denver, and Chicago, were put on the hot seat today. These mayors spent millions on housing and providing for illegals in their cities. Wait till you see these numbers. Chicago, $638 million in 2 years. Denver, $72 million since 2022. New York City, nearly $2 billion. In Boston, well, they lost track of how much money they spent, but we know this. They have spent $520 million just since July housing illegal aliens. Unbelievable number.
It's a lot of money, a lot of cash. The mayor of Boston, Michelle Wu, according to one report, blew through $650,000 in city funds for herself to prepare for today's hearing. Let's hear what all that cash got her.
So to every one of my neighbors back in Boston, know this. You belong here. This is your home. Boston es tu hogar. Boston, c'est la caillou. This is our city.
So you don't consider yourself a sanctuary city?
We provide services and supports.
Do you consider yourself a sanctuary city? That's
we do not under that definition.
You don't use the definition. You're not a sanctuary.
We call ourselves a welcoming city.
Okay, so what are you welcoming and who are you not welcoming?
Well, we're welcoming everybody.
Mayor Johnson, Chicago. How much has the city of Chicago spent on illegal immigration?
If you're referring to the 2022 up to 2024 of the buses coming from Texas, roughly the same percentage of the state of Texas, about 1% of our overall budget.
What is that? Because we don't have the city's budget in front of me. Numbers.
It's 1%, and if you want the actual calculation, we can make sure someone...
You're the mayor. You don't have the math in front of you.
Wow, let's bring in Texas Congressman and House Oversight Committee member Pat Fallon. Congressman, tell us what you saw, what was going on. We've seen a couple of highlights, but you spent hours there. What happened?
Jason, I saw a lot of woke wonderment, and I saw a lot of double talk is what I saw. When you just simply ask them questions, like I asked Mayor Wu, do you believe that the Biden administration was serious about securing the border? And she wouldn't answer the question. She gave me an alphabet soup. And I said, well, I think you must have, because you supported Kamala Harris for president. The bottom line is y'all are spending billions of dollars and you don't have the money. And I thought, for any elected official, the most sacrosanct mission and duty we have is to keep our citizens safe, to keep our constituents safe, because if you're not safe, then you're not free. And they are endangering the very people that elected them, and it's shameful, and I'm glad we exposed them today.
The Congressman, you make a great point about them putting their citizens at risk as a result of not cooperating with the federal government. But as Tom Homan, the border czar, has repeatedly said, he's willing to prosecute these mayors and put them in jail for violating federal immigration law for harboring or enabling illegal immigration. So in that hearing today, was there any talk of that? And do these mayors seem defiant even in the face of potentially going to jail themselves?
Oh, I think they love it, and it makes them out to be like celebrities of the loony left. And the fact of the matter is, I mean, in Texas alone, Katie, from June of 2011 to January of 2024, there were 299,000 illegal immigrants that were arrested. They were charged with over 513,000 crimes, and it resulted in 187,000 convictions. So in Texas, we take border security and public safety seriously, and that's why, as you just mentioned on your graphic there, last February, 190,000 illegal crossings. This February, 8,000. And by the way, we didn't pass any new legislation. We just needed a president that had the will to enforce the laws that were already on the books.
Yeah, that is the difference, the political will. I've never seen anything like it. Donald Trump actually getting it done. But Team Trump headed to the border today in the administration's immigration crackdown. Here's what Vice President J.D. Vance had to say.
I have some bad news and some good news. And the bad news is that because of what Joe Biden did at the southern border for 4 years, we had record increases in migrant crime, in fentanyl deaths, and in just floods and floods of people who shouldn't be in our country. The good news is, as President Trump said last night at the State of the Union, it turns out we didn't need new laws. We didn't need fancy legislation. We just needed a new president of the United States, and thank God that's exactly what we have.
So Congressman, you're from Texas. It was not only a change of the president, but what else changed there on the border? And do you see any cooperation on the Mexican side of the fence? Because that's what they pledged to do.
Well, Mexico, as you know, Jason, they do just enough not to get us really, really angry. They play that game of, they just little nibbles. They never feed us the steak and potatoes. They feed us crumbs. Little the end of the bread kind of thing. Now, yes, I do see synergy with the state of Texas now and the administration because they both want to actually secure the border. The problem was we were at odds for 4 years with this administration because they didn't want to. They had no interest in securing the border. I mean, when you saw that President Trump had it was about 400,000 illegal crossings each year, a little more than that, and then Joe Biden came in office and it was 2.6 million. He made it almost 6 times worse immediately because they literally had an open border policy.
Congressman, I think the images today from the border trip with Vice President Vance are striking because you also had Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard there and the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth there as well. So this is a huge shift in American policy on the issue of immigration, which is a national security issue, not just one of illegal immigration. And of course, the president has designated Mexican cartels as terrorist organizations. So you mentioned the Mexican government, but when we're seeing these defense officials, intelligence officials there, is it a preview of maybe what is coming for these cartels who are operating on the other side of the border that the Mexican government isn't doing much about because maybe they're a little involved too?
I think it was very telling that the Democrats didn't choose to clap or stand or cheer when the president made mention of the fact that he had designated the Mexican drug cartels terrorist organizations. And again, you just compare the numbers. There were only 11 people that were caught that were on the terrorist watch list when President Trump, during his first term, when he was the chief executive. And that jumped to 382 under Joe Biden. There were only 98 Russian nationals, 98 in the 4 years President Trump was in office, and in Joe Biden, it was 127,000. This administration is literally serious about securing the southern border and protecting Americans and putting America first.
Congressman Pat Fallon, appreciate you joining us. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Jason. God bless.